Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, so today we are going to be doing a deep dive into three really fascinating areas.
Okay.
Those are AI, search engines, and then space tech.
Wow, that's quite a variety there.
Yeah, and I think that the really interesting thing is that they're all sort of undergoing these massive changes right now.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
So I guess let's jump right in. The first thing that really caught my eye was this idea of an AI arms race.
An AI arms race.
Yeah, have you been following this at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been pretty hard to miss, actually.
Yeah, so basically, everyone's trying to become like the top dog in artificial intelligence, right?
Right. Yeah, it seems like every major company is trying to get a piece of the pie.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating to me is this whole concept of hypercenters,
Yeah.
which I had never even heard of before reading these articles.
Well, hypercenters are basically like the Silicon Valleys of AI.
Oh, okay.
You know, there are these regions with just this insane concentration of resources.
Like what kind of resources are we talking about?
We're talking massive computing power, mountain of data top talent, and of course just tons of money.
Yeah, I guess you need all of those things if you're really going to make a dent in the AI world.
Absolutely. And right now the US and China are kind of the undisputed heavyweights.
Like the champions of the AI ring or something?
Exactly. But, other countries are starting to emerge, trying to muscle their way in.
So it's not just a two-player game anymore.
Not anymore. It's getting a lot more crowded and a lot more competitive.
Yeah, and this brings up this really interesting question, right? Like, if you're a country that's not already an AI superpower, how do you even begin to compete?
It's a tough question. There are a couple of options, but they each come with their own risks.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, you could try to build your own AI infrastructure from scratch.
Oh, wow. That sounds expensive.
It is incredibly expensive and complex. Or you could try to partner with the existing powerhouses like the US or China.
Yeah.
But that could leave you vulnerable to their influence.
It's like a catch-22. You either spend a fortune trying to catch up or you risk becoming dependent on another country.
It's a tough spot to be in, and a lot of countries are grappling with this dilemma right now.
The article mentioned France as an example.
Yeah, France is a good example. They're trying to strike that balance. They're investing in their own AI infrastructure, but they're also maintaining strong ties with the US and other allies.
It sounds like they're playing it smart, trying to hedge their bets.
Exactly. And another really interesting aspect of all of this is the role of open source AI.
Oh, yeah, open source AI. That seems to be like the hot new thing in the tech world right now.
Yeah, it is. It's gaining a ton of momentum, and it's actually changing the game in a big way.
How so?
Well, just a year ago, a lot of experts were saying that the U.S. had an unassailable lead in AI.
Because of companies like Google and all their fancy closed source systems, right?
Exactly, but open source AI is leveling the playing field. It's making powerful tools and knowledge available to anyone.
So even smaller countries and companies can get in on the action.
Exactly. It's like, imagine if everyone had access to the same cookbook. Anyone could bake a delicious AI cake regardless of their resources.
That sounds delicious. But I guess it's not really about cake, is it?
No, it's not about cake. It's about democratizing access to AI. It's about empowering a wider range of people to contribute to this technology.
And to compete with the big players like China.
Exactly. And that's why a lot of democratic nations are starting to prioritize investments in open source AI.
So it's not just a tech trend, it's also a strategic one.
Absolutely. And what's also interesting is that we're seeing a shift away from the narrative that just a handful of tech giants are dictating the future of AI.
Right, like Elon Musk has been very vocal about his concerns.
He has, and that's definitely brought a lot of attention to the topic, but other voices are emerging too.
Oh yeah, like who?
Well, you've got researchers from places like DC Berkeley, ethical AI organizations, and even smaller AI startups like Mistral.
So it's becoming more of a team effort.
It is, and that's a good thing. Having diverse perspectives is crucial when dealing with something as powerful and potentially impactful as AI.
Okay, so we've talked about this AI arms race and the rise of open source AI.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a second and talk about search engines.
Okay.
Because I was reading about Reddit and their impressive growth, and honestly, I was surprised.
Really? What surprised you about it?
Well, I mean, I always thought of Reddit as this kind of niche platform.
For gamers and meme lovers.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems like they've really evolved beyond those niche roots.
They have, and a big part of their success has been their focus on community building.
So it's not just about finding information, it's about connecting with other people who share your interests.
Exactly. They've created this space where users feel like they belong, where their voices are heard, and where they can find genuine connections.
Yeah, I guess that's something you don't really get from a traditional search engine.
Right. It's a different kind of experience.
But I'm curious, like, isn't Reddit still heavily reliant on Google for traffic?
They are, and it's actually a pretty interesting dynamic.
How so?
Well, on one hand, Google's algorithms can help surface Reddit content to a wider
Which
audience.
is good for Reddit.
Exactly. But on the other hand, if Google decides to tweak its algorithms in a way that buries Reddit links, it could have a huge impact on their reach.
So they're kind of at Google's mercy in a way.
To some extent, yes. But they're not just sitting back and hoping for the best.
What are they doing about it?
They're actively working to reduce their reliance on external search engines.
Oh, really? How are they doing that? Are they like building their own Google?
Well, not quite, but they are investing in their own search capabilities.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, one example is this feature they're testing called Reddit Answers.
Reddit answers.
Yeah, it's still in beta, but the idea is to allow users to search for information entirely within Reddit's massive archive of discussions.
So instead of getting a bunch of random websites from Google, you get answers specifically from the Reddit community.
Exactly. And that's a powerful differentiator.
Yeah, I can see that. Like it's like having access to this vast library of lived experiences and expert opinions.
Exactly. And that's something Google can't easily replicate.
Okay, so Reddit is trying to break free from Google's grip, and we talked about the AI arms race.
Right.
Now let's blast off into the final frontier space tech.
To infinity and beyond.
Exactly. This article I read about Katy Space was fascinating.
What caught your eye about them?
Well, they seem to be doing things a little differently than the big players like SpaceX and Blue Origin.
Oh, yeah, how so?
Well, while most companies are focusing on smaller, lower-power satellites, Katy Space is building these massive, high-power satellites.
Really? It seems like they're going against the grain.
Yeah, and I was wondering why go bigger when the trend seems to be towards smaller and more agile satellites?
It's a good question, and it all comes down to strategy. You see, with companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin driving down launch costs and making it easier to get larger payloads into orbit, the bottleneck is no longer getting to space.
Oh, it's what you can do once you're up there.
Exactly. And Katy Space recognized that they saw opportunity to fill a gap in the market by building these high-power satellites that can handle more complex tasks and transmit vast amounts of data.
So they're betting on the idea that there's a growing demand for more powerful capabilities in orbit.
Exactly. They're thinking long-term.
And they're not just building these powerful satellites, they're building them really efficiently too, right?
That's right. They've vertically integrated their operations, which means they manufacture about 75% of their components in-house.
Wow, that's impressive. It's like they've created their own little space tech ecosystem.
It is. And it gives them greater control over their supply chain, allows them to optimize costs, and ensures that their technology is perfectly tailored to their needs.
And this approach seems to be paying off. They've attracted both commercial and government contracts.
They have. They're working with satellite operators to boost data transmission capabilities, and they even snagged a $30 million contract from the Department of Defense.
Wow, that's huge, especially when you consider that some of the bigger names in the space industry are facing some challenges.
Right, like Blue Origin with their recent workforce reductions.
Yeah, it really highlights the importance of having a clear vision and a strategy that aligns with the evolving landscape.
Absolutely. And Katy Space seems to have found that sweet spot.
And they have this big mission coming up, right? The Gravitas mission?
Yeah, Gravitas is going to be a big one for them. It's their opportunity to really prove themselves.
Like a make or break moment.
It could be. They'll be putting their full satellite platform through its paces in extreme conditions, demonstrating its durability, power, capabilities, and overall performance.
It's like their grand debut on the cosmic stage.
Exactly. And if it's successful, it could solidify their position as a leader in the next generation of space technology.
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground already, from AI arms races to Reddit's quest for independence and Katy Space's ambitious plans.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, and it's clear that the tech world is constantly evolving, but we're just getting started.
There's always more to explore.
Exactly. We'll be back soon with part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll explore these topics even further, so don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's great to be back. So last time we were talking about Katy Space and those like super powerful satellites they're building.
Yeah, they're really shaking things up in the space industry.
Yeah, and it's kind of amazing how well they're doing, even while like some of the bigger names are having to like cut back and stuff.
Yeah, it really shows you how important strategy is. I know they saw a need for these high-powered satellites, and they figured out a way to build them effectively and efficiently.
Yeah, and that whole vertical integration thing where they make most of their own parts, that's pretty smart.
It is. It gives them so much more control over their supply chain and helps them keep costs down.
Yeah, it's like they've created their own little mini ecosystem for space tech.
Exactly. And investors are definitely taking notice, too.
I thought they just got a bunch of funding, right?
Yeah, they just raised like $180 million.
Wow, that's That's serious money.
It is. It shows that investors really believe in their vision and their ability to make it happen.
Yeah, and this funding is going to help them with their big upcoming mission, right? The Gravitas mission.
Right. Gravitas is going to be huge for them.
Can you remind us, like, what exactly is so special about Gravitas?
Basically, Gravitas is their chance to prove to everyone that their high-powered satellite platform isn't just some idea on paper. It's a real workable solution that can handle all sorts of applications.
And they're going to do that by, like, launching a real satellite into space and putting it through all these crazy tests, right?
Exactly. They're going to be testing it in extreme conditions to make sure it can handle the harsh realities of space.
It's like their big debut on the cosmic stage.
Exactly. And if it's successful, it could really change the game for the whole space industry.
Yeah, because right now everybody's focused on those smaller satellites.
Right, but Katy Space is betting that high-powered satellites are the future.
And Gravitas is their way of proving it.
Exactly. It's a bold move, but it could pay off big time.
So basically, the whole space industry is going to be watching this Gravitas mission super closely.
They are. It could be a real turning point.
Okay, so we've talked about space. Let's come back down to Earth for a minute and talk about search engines again.
Okay, back to the digital world.
Yeah, we were talking before about how Reddit is trying to, like, navigate this tricky relationship with Google.
Right. They want to stay visible in search results, but they also want to be more independent.
Yeah, it's a tough balancing act. What did you think about their approach?
Well, what's interesting is that they're playing both sides. On one hand, they're using all the data that Google gives them to optimize their content and attract more users.
So they're still playing the SEO game.
They are. They know they can't ignore Google entirely.
But at the same time, they're building these tools that allow users to find information without ever leaving Reddit.
Right, like Reddit answers.
Yeah, that's such a cool idea. Like, it's turning Reddit into its own little search engine.
In a way, it is. They're tapping into the collective knowledge and experience of their community.
Yeah, it's like having a million librarians at your fingertips.
Exactly, and that's something that Google just can't replicate. It's a different kind of search experience.
Yeah, it's more about, like, real people and their real experiences.
Exactly. It's less about algorithms and more about human connection.
Okay, so we've talked about Reddit trying to become more independent. We've talked about Katy Space pushing the boundaries of space tech. And we started off talking about this whole AI arms race and the rise of open source AI.
Right, a lot of big themes.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is how these themes all connect back to this idea of, like, the human element in technology.
That's a great point. You know, for a long time, we've been focused on the tech itself, the gadgets, the software, the algorithms.
Yeah, like the tech is the star of the show.
Right, but what we're seeing now is that technology is really just a tool. It's a means to an end. And the ends we choose to pursue with technology are ultimately shaped by human values and aspirations.
So it's not about the tech itself, it's about what we do with it.
Exactly. Technology is a canvas, and we're the artists. We get to decide what kind of future we want to create with it.
Yeah, and that's a powerful idea because it means that we're not just passive bystanders in this technological revolution. We had a say in how it all unfolds.
Absolutely, and the choices we make today will determine what kind of world we live in tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's a great place to leave it for now, but we'll be back soon with part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll explore these ideas even further. So don't miss it. All right, welcome back for the final part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind tour of the tech world.
Yeah, from AI arms races to space satellites to the future of search engines. It's amazing how much is happening right now.
It really is. Technology is evolving at an incredible pace.
But you know, one thing that's really stood out to me throughout all of this is the importance of the human element.
Yeah, I agree with you. For all the talk about algorithms and artificial intelligence and all that, it seems like technology is becoming more about people than ever before.
Right? Like we've talked about the diverse voices shaping AI, the passionate communities on Reddit driving knowledge, sharing the brilliant minds at Katy Space pushing the boundaries of space exploration.
Exactly. In the end, technology is a tool, and it's up to us to decide how we use it.
It's like technology is a canvas, and we're the artists.
That's a beautiful way to put it. We get to paint the picture of the future with the tools that technology provides.
Exactly. And that means that we're not just passive bystanders in this technological revolution. We have the power to shape it.
Absolutely. We have the power to make sure that technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
Yeah, and that brings us back to that question we posed earlier. How will these technological advancements shape your life in the coming years?
It's a big question, and there's no easy answer. But the choices we make today will determine what that future looks like.
So it's like choosing our own adventure on a global scale.
Exactly. Will we embrace open collaboration and ethical principles in AI development? Will we foster online communities that value authenticity and knowledge sharing? Will we support companies like Katy Space that are pushing the boundaries of space exploration?
These aren't just hypothetical questions either. These are decisions we're making every day.
Right. The products we buy, the information we consume, the companies and organizations we support, all of these choices contribute to shaping the technological landscape.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge. Don't just be consumers of technology. Be active participants in its evolution.
I love that engage in conversations about the ethical implications of AI, support organizations that promote open source development, seek out information from diverse sources, and most importantly, use your voice to advocate for a future where technology serves humanity.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions. 20CT9.